Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Small World and thank you for joining me with today's video. Today's video is a bit different obviously. It's the first time I'm talking to you guys directly into the camera. But I wanted to make this video as an official thank you because about 3 weeks ago the channel reached 100,000 subscribers. And I wanted to make this video before, but I waited until now because YouTube just sent out the silver plaque. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because obviously I couldn't have reached this on my own. And it's just amazing to me. I'm super grateful that there's 100,000 of you, well, 100 plus thousand now. It's just amazing that, that many people subscribe to my channel basically saying, yeah, I want to see more of what this guy builds. And it's just kind of overwhelming. I'm super grateful that so many of you are watching my videos and are commenting and, very positive and encouraging and supporting what I like to do. It's really amazing. So, thanks to each and every one of you. Again, I couldn't have done this myself. When I make a video, I just kind of think of things that I'm like, okay, that could be kind of fun to build, and I think I can make it, and I'll probably learn some things along the way. And I just post the video, and once I do that, it's beyond my control. I have no idea if it's gonna do well. I yeah, I really just don't know what's gonna happen, and it's nice that I have, a very awesome, dedicated fan base that's willing to watch my content. And I know sometimes, especially with this Waffle House video, it took way too long to make. And I'm just grateful that, so many of you are patient with me and willing to stick with me and support me. So thank you so much for everything. I'm super grateful for each and every one of you. For now, I mean, for 100,000 subscribers, it's kind of hard for me to decide what like I wanted to show for you guys. I know some people do like shop tours of their workspace, and you basically can see my entire shop right in the background. I have two messy shelves filled with paint and green scenery stuff and spackle and a messy pile of balsa wood. And I just work on a fold out table here, and then there's one obviously right in front of me where my laptop's at right now. So it wouldn't have been much of a tour. It probably could have taken me 10 seconds to show you everything, which would be pretty underwhelming. I don't work in a very large, organized, beautiful space. Just a normal room with fold out tables. So, but, anyways, I guess I'll just kind of go back and we can talk about how it's where it is now. When I first started the channel, it was just over a year and a half ago, like late February of 2023 is when I posted my first video. And again, I had no idea how well this YouTube would do. I always envisioned eventually reaching 100,000, but I had no control over when or how that's going to happen really. When I first started making YouTube videos, as some of you probably know, those first few videos were very different. I like to think they're very different than the content that I'm creating now. Yes, they were model making related, but they were shorter videos. I was posting weekly videos, and they were of either building one small specific thing or covering one technique. For instance, how to build miniature pallets out of balsa wood, or how to carve realistic bricks out of foam. And at the time, it was great because I felt really productive. The way the schedule worked out for those videos was I could finish them within 2 days. So at the beginning of the week, on Monday, I would come up with an idea and I'd film it. And then Tuesday, I would finish editing everything and schedule the upload for Friday. And the rest of the week, I spent working on larger projects. And at that time, it was my first diorama for the channel, which was the cabin, the first cabin I made. And again, I felt great because I was being productive. I was posting weekly videos, I was working on something larger, And by the time I posted the cabin, though, I knew that it wasn't a sustainable schedule. Not that I couldn't handle the workload, but the issue being I kept running out of ideas of things I could make a video of within 2 days. Like, there's only so many things I can carve out of foam. I mean, I could 3D print stuff and show you how I finish it, but that kind of got mixed results. Some people don't really like that content as much, and I understand why. After the cabin, I kind of just took a leap of faith and said I want to just, turn this into a diorama channel. And that was scary because I lost my weekly upload schedule, and going from weekly uploads to maybe every 6 weeks, I was like, I don't know if YouTube is going to continue putting out my content. But thankfully, it seemed like that was the right move to do that, because all of my best performing videos are the full diorama videos. And it's because people like you are supporting me and watching the videos, because again, it's not like I'm going to watch my video 1,000 times. So it's amazing that I have an audience that enjoys watching what I do. And I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at right now. Ever since I made the Greek Santorini diorama, I've just been doing more of the same thing, making longer diorama videos. And as for the future of the channel, that's really what I plan on doing. This channel will always primarily be an architectural diorama channel. I feel like my sort of trademark sort of thing is I make miniatures of buildings and I try to make them as realistic as I can, and I film the final products in natural lighting outside. And it's my favorite thing to do. I love doing it, and it got me to where I am now, so I'm always going to keep doing it. The one change, which I actually did mention on my community post when I reached 100,000 subscribers, the main change that I plan on doing is I plan on introducing a few videos in between my larger ones of me building most likely model car kits. And I know that content isn't for everyone, which is totally fine. But what that will allow me to do is post content more regularly, hopefully, and I'll get to use those model cars in future projects. Like, as you know, for like some of my previous projects like Starbucks and Waffle House, I have model cars in the parking lots that I built 4+ years ago, and I don't want to always be using those exact same cars every single project. So I'm gonna have to build new ones, and so why not just film them if I have to build them anyways? And again, the channel will primarily be about dioramas, but I just figured it's a way that I can sprinkle in some videos in between, and YouTube will hopefully know I'm still alive when I haven't posted in 6 weeks. And again, like the larger projects take a long time to do, and a lot of that I don't even film. It's the design process. I know some of you mentioned you want to see that process, and I might show some snippets of it here and there, but I think the majority of the people watching would find it pretty boring. It's just me clicking away on the computer. I feel like me screen recording, me 3D modeling stuff and drawing lines on the computer, it's probably not for everyone. I think I would lose a lot of interest, especially if that's the beginning of the video, is me on my computer uh, trying to design stuff in CAD. But maybe not. I mean, let me know in the comments if you think that would be interesting. But again, yeah, it takes like 2 weeks sometimes to design a 3D model of whatever I'm making. And it obviously adds time to the project, and I don't film it. And when I make the videos, it's just me getting right into the build. And so doing model cars, I don't have to design anything. I can just go straight into the build. It's kind of like gives my brain a little bit of a rest. So those are some reasons why I think it would be cool to do model car videos between my longer videos. So yeah, as for what's up next, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing model making videos of dioramas. That's never going to change. So for now, I thought it would be fun to kind of answer some questions that I commonly get on videos. I actually have answered some of these previously, like half a year ago on Patreon. I do this thing that's similar to what I'm doing now on Patreon, where people will leave me questions in the comments of my posts, and I'll answer their questions in videos like this, where I just talk. So yeah, I guess for now, the first question is, how did I get into model making? And it's a pretty broad question, but it's a good one because model making is like a pretty niche thing. I think a lot of people think it's cool, but I think a lot of people don't really get into it. I got into model making when I was pretty young. I think I was 7 or 8, something like that. And I was on vacation with my family, and we went to a miniature world that was like attached to a hotel, and they had a miniature display. And I remember it had like a World War II display, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing at the time. And so immediately when I got home from vacation, I was trying to make miniature sets and stuff for my army men, and would make like bombed out buildings out of foam core from, World War II or whatever. And that was kind of like what sparked my interest in making miniatures. And I wasn't always consistently making miniatures throughout school up through high school, but like I would say towards the end of high school, I kind of got a little bit back into building miniatures. When it came to going to college, I knew I wanted to do something creative. I used to draw a lot more. I used to draw in high school all the time in art class and everything. So I knew I wanted to go to art school, and I went to school for set design. And the main reason why I chose set design was because on the like orientation day, not even that, they do like a tour before you're admitted to the school. You can visit the school and, you know, uh, get a sense of what it's like. And I remember in the production design department, which is where they had set design, there was just a bunch of color models on display, and I just thought it was super cool. And when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I went to school, studied set design. In 2019, I worked on a couple film projects. I worked on an Amazon Limited series and a Netflix feature, both of which I made miniatures for. They weren't filming miniatures; they were planning. So it's kind of similar to like how an architect would back in the day make a model before building a project. It's to work out problems in the design process, right? I'm given like plans and elevation drawings from a set designer, and I build the model based off of their design. And then art directors are giving me direction along the way of specific things to look out for, or just stuff like that. So yeah, I've been doing models basically almost my whole life, but now it's really nice and liberating to make things for you guys on YouTube, because I can make things the way I want to do it on my own timeline, and it's amazing. So again, thank you for allowing me to do this. It's amazing to make these miniatures for you. So another question I get is, why do I build in the scale that I build in? For those that don't know, I build in 1/24th scale, which basically means if you have a measurement, you divide it by 24, and that's the measurement that the miniature is. I actually don't calculate scale that way. In school, I learned the American architectural scale way, and in that's half-inch scale, which means 1/2 inch is equal to a foot. That's the way I think. It's more of like an additive process, right? Like a 1/2 inch is a foot, which means an inch is 2 feet, or a 1/4 inch is 6 inches. That's just the way my brain works. I don't divide by 24, but that's the way like the rest of the world would do it. The main reason why I work in 1/24th scale is because of the detail I can get out of it, with it still being pretty small. What I mean by that is, I think you can create, in my opinion, realistic looking buildings in smaller scales for sure. But I find that some details in smaller scales are lacking, right? I guess a good example would be the air conditioning units. Um, I can make a convincing building maybe in HO scale and it looks real. But if I wanted to put like miniature air conditioning units on there, I could do something that looks somewhat convincing, but it wouldn't have the same amount of detail because it is smaller. I wouldn't be able to make 3D print the vents as fine as I know I can get in 124 scale with a fan inside of it. Some of the things that I print that have, words on it, like miniature posters and stuff, I might not be able to get legible print in a smaller scale. So it's really just about the details. I like pushing as much detail as I can get, and I think that 1/24th scale is the smallest scale that allows me to get that detail for most things. Not everything, but I would say most. Kind of a question leading that's connected to what I just answered that I typically get is, why don't I have figures in my dioramas? Where's the people? And that's a very fair question. But going into kind of what I just said, my personal opinion, I don't think that there are figures out there that look real unless you get into a huge scale. Again, I just personally think that some of the best painted figures, while they're super impressive, something that I couldn't do currently. I would have to spend a lot of time to get good at figure painting for sure. But in my opinion, most figures that, even if they're painted extremely well, I still find that they look like a well painted figure rather than a real person. The only exception, I think, are those like large Star Wars action figures that are like 1/6 scale and 12 inches tall that have like casted silicone parts and separate cast pieces for eyeballs. I mean, those are kind of creepy, but they look really realistic. And like when I'm trying to make realistic things, I want that level of detail in there. And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to build, in 1/6 scale because I don't have the space for it. I just don't think that there's convincing miniatures available in any other scale right now. I know you can 3D print in color, and I think that's probably like the most realistic you can get at this moment. However, they look good from, I don't know, maybe 2 feet away, and then you get up close and you kind of see the graininess along the texture of the figure. And so I know I'm a bit picky with that stuff, but that's the main reason why I don't put figures in my model, is because I just don't think that there's any figures available. Even if they're painted extremely well, I still think they look like rigid figures. But that's just my personal opinion. If there ever is something in the future that comes out that looks realistic, I'm gonna put figures in the miniatures. But for now, I'm just gonna be, keeping my miniatures figureless, which I know isn't necessarily the most realistic in a plausible like scenario sense, But yeah, I'll be on the lookout for different techniques and processes for real looking figures. But yeah, those are just a few questions that I commonly get. I hope that you enjoyed, listening to those answers. Again, if you want to hear more Q&A stuff like that, feel free to support me on Patreon. I do Q&A episodes like this called Small Talk. And so again, yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me and helping me get to this 100,000 subscriber mark, because again, without you, it wouldn't have happened. So I'm just super grateful for each and every one of you. I have a few builds planned in the future, and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, bye bye.